Oh, I'm glad you brought it. I heard all of it.
Minister, today is the second day that 24,000 students in Durham don't have classes to attend.
Poor kids.
Yesterday, you said you were mystified, you were perplexed, and you weren't sure why the board was striking. Well, Minister, you can be perplexed and mystified no longer. The reason the board is striking and the reason for a second day that 24,000 students are out of the classroom, the reason is 12 years of Liberal fiscal mismanagement.
Sounds about right.
Minister, Sudbury, OSSTF in Sudbury could strike on April the 27th, and we've just found out that OSSTF Peel just announced that they may strike on May the 4th. This isn't a local issue anymore. The buck stops with the Liberal government and with you, Minister. Minister, how many more boards need to strike before you realize why they walked away from negotiations?
Thank you. Minister of Education.
Yes, thank you very much. And obviously we're very concerned about the students who are missing classes, and that we understand that students and parents want
Prince Edward Hastings
back in the classroom. The kids want to get back in the classroom, which is actually great that students are telling us that they want to get back into their studies. But I think it is important to understand that the way that the Collective Bargaining Act is structured is that some issues are discussed at a provincial level. The central table includes the Crown, so yes, I am responsible for being at that table, and the Trustee Association and the Provincial Union. And that central table continues to have talks.
Answer.
Talks are going on at the central table. Unfortunately, it's some of the local tables where talks have broken
Thank you.
down.
Supplementary.
Back to the Minister, Mr. Speaker. You said yesterday you hadn't heard a coherent explanation as to why Durham is striking. Mr. Speaker, the member from Guelph is the Minister of Education. If she hasn't heard a coherent explanation or been given a proper briefing, I hope she spends time today interviewing new staff. But I suppose I could save her the trouble. The strike in Durham is because of your 12 years of Liberal fiscal mismanagement. You can't negotiate fairly, and you're backtracking on election promises. Minister, will you stop blaming? Will you stop blaming the?
Stop the clock, please. Order. Please, Finn.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Minister, will you stop blaming the local boards and take responsibility before more boards strike in this province?
Minister.
I would quibble a little bit with the wording.
Start the clock. Thank you. Minister.
Because I think it's important that we don't get into a situation of assigning blame here or a blame there or blame there. What's important is that at both levels we have talks. We do have talks going on, because the only way to reach an agreement is if we're talking. We are negotiating at the central table, where I do have responsibility, and we understand that we must arrive at a negotiated agreement. But we also know that at the local level we need the local parties. And I point out that these are the people whose last platform was to...
Thank you. New question. The member from Toronto.